When I first started watching this film, the only thing I could think about was that the writers just watched this one episode of The Office.
Michael, parkour! Parkour! Extreme! Parkour!
After bubbles that broke the laws of gravity rained down upon the world, and now isolated Tokyo, submerged in gravity-bending waters, has become home to a group of orphans that battle in Battlecore, a competition that sends them jumping around buildings throughout the city, avoiding the waters. But before I start with my review for Bubble today, I want you to let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. If you're excited, if you've seen it, anything and everything down there. And if you love movies and TV, this is the place to be. Consider clicking that subscribe button so you don't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. I went into this film as blind as possible. I only knew that it was an anime movie that was going to drop on Netflix this Friday the 28th, and that's all I really needed. And it is, simply put, one of the most visually gorgeous films I have seen in quite a while. The animation is just sensational. It's a visually vibrant world that, while it hasn't quite recuperated from a previous collapse in its backstory, it just looks interesting. This city submerged in water, this water that has these vortexes that defy gravity, a bubble that is hanging midway through the Tower of Tokyo, and all the colors are gorgeous. So this is one of those films that you just want to look at it and feast your eyes on the visuals. Not only that, the character designs are really good as well, and it's so well shot and directed as these characters are jumping around doing this battlecore competition. These swooping shots, not cutting away, just letting you be engrossed in all the action, all the adrenaline to build up that momentum. And they are technically the film's action sequences, so they are overall a delight to watch. It is simply stunning animation done by Studio Wit, who has done some of the best animes in recent years, at least on a visual level. And not only does the film have great visuals, it uses these visuals, it uses the characters to do some great world building, spreading these little sprinkles of the backstory, telling you little by little about what happened and what brought these characters here. And there's an interesting theme about searching for connection when you feel lost and searching for a place to belong. The idea is there, and the film uses the visuals to explore that, and it also uses sound, and specifically music, for it. The main theme, I'm sure you've heard if you've seen the trailers, by Eve, who did the first theme for Jujutsu Kaisen. The melody is beautiful, and the only characters who can hear it in the film are our main character Hibiki and Uta, this mysterious girl with some connection to the bubbles that we don't know of, and you'll have to find out in the film, that saves him from drowning at one point. And this is where we encounter problems, because there's a really good premise here, there's a really interesting world, and the filmmakers clearly built this world and this intriguing mystery, but the film feels like a first draft in regards to story. There really isn't one until the third act. Up until then, the film is meandering. The film doesn't really have this sense of forward momentum. The characters are not that interesting beyond the premise. The one sentence that you'll have to describe them, that's who they are for the bulk of the film. Nothing really happens. There's no sense of stakes, of what these characters have to lose, of what these characters have to gain, of what they want, of what they need. There's no struggle, no conflict. And that was incredibly frustrating, because the film on the technical aspects excels, but nothing else about its story or characters is that well defined or compelling. The relationship between these characters starts off on an interesting place, but it doesn't really go anywhere, and again, it just feels undercooked. It feels like these ideas that didn't go past the concept stage. And so while the ideas in this film are fantastic, the execution leaves a lot to be desired. They just are not on the same level. The filmmakers clearly feel and think that the relationship between Uta and Hibiki is very quirky and charming. That's just Uta. The relationship itself is nothing. It doesn't really make you care for it, and the film is just too vague. I'm not gonna get into spoilers, but I am so confused by the resolution that the film delivers. Again, the themes are interesting, but how it brings them together, how it converges all its elements, it's not satisfying. It's incredibly vague, and it's delivered in a very convoluted way. To the point where after finishing the film, you start to question some of the things that it set up. It doesn't pay them off really well. It's one of those that I really think could have used a concrete villain, where it doesn't really have. It has an idea of a villain. I don't want to spoil too much. It's just one of those films that is just confusing because it starts so well and then it kind of leads nowhere, making the whole experience feel uneventful, feel hollow. Bubble is the most frustrating film I've seen all year, not because it is the worst film of the year. By far it is not. But it's a frustrating experience in the sense that it has compelling ideas, but it lacks the execution to meet that compelling idea. So despite being set in an interesting world with a ton of compelling lore to it, the proverbial waters of this narrative are kind of shallow. There's just not a lot or even anything at all to be taken away from it. It felt like the filmmakers didn't know what they wanted to do with this premise. It felt very much like a spec script, something that is an attempt at a story, but it's not all the way there, and yet it was put out there. It's confusing to see this as a finished product. Every praiseworthy technical aspect in Bubble unfortunately finds its complete opposite in story, script, and characters. It's inconsistent in tone, vague with its messaging, and just doesn't have a story to tell for the bulk of the film. It has a premise, it has a resolution, but it lacks the proper development and the proper compelling story to meet those compelling ideas. I'm giving Bubble a C. I'm just very halfway on this one. I'm literally down the middle because it's really a great idea, but a really lacking execution. But those are only my thoughts on Bubble. Comes out on Netflix this Friday, the 28th. I hope you get something out of it. I hope you enjoy it like I wish I did. Let me know any and all your thoughts down there in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you to my channel member Bruna. And if you like what you saw here, make sure to click that subscribe button so you don't miss any future conversations on your favorite movies and TV. Later today, I'll have a review for X2, X-Men United, ahead of Doctor Strange. My review for the original X-Men is already up. I hope to see you in any of those. So until the next one, love each other and love the movies.